Hello and a very warm welcome to Middle East Matters. I'm Sanam Shantyaei. Coming up on our programme this week, the politics of archaeology in Israel. Authorities push to evacuate the residents of a predominantly Palestinian neighbourhood, Silwan, due to damage. Some locals are refusing to budge. Iraqis are back to the ballot boxes. With divisions running high across the country, the Kurds are expected to lose at least 13 parliamentary seats. Also coming up, DanielEssa's journey from fleeing the conflict in Syria to becoming a luxury shoe designer here in France. The 30-year-old joins us here in the studio. Now, as the clock ticks down towards May 12th for the US to make a decision on a nuclear deal with Iran, world leaders are scrambling to influence Donald Trump with their own narrative. The latest being the Prime Minister of Israel, Iran's long-term foe. Benjamin Netanyahu on Monday claimed he has proof that Tehran has been lying about its nuclear ambitions, calling it one of the greatest achievements in the history of Mossad. According to experts, however, the evidence points to a period before the accord was clinched back in 2015. Let's listen to a segment of that presentation.
Tonight I'm here to tell you one thing. Iran lied. Big time. After signing the nuclear deal in 2015, Iran intensified its efforts to hide its secret nuclear files. In 2017, Iran moved its nuclear weapons files to a highly secret location in Tehran. This is the Shourabad district in southern Tehran. This is where they kept the atomic archives.
Same with Israel, where archaeology can often be used as a political weapon. Now, this week, we'll bring you the story of one Palestinian neighbourhood, that's Silwan, where cracks are beginning to appear as a result of the tunnels dug beneath the ground. Some houses have even been evacuated, but other residents are refusing to move out. They say if they leave, settlers will take possession of their land. Here's a report from our correspondents.
There are 4 deserted houses opposite Ahmed's grocery store in Silwan.
Okay, it's empty. The owner's not here. They moved to another house because it's dangerous for them to live. Look, if you see how it's... And inside it's more than this.
Palestinian residents claim that archaeological digs below ground here have weakened their homes. Israel's digging tunnels to locate the ancient city of David. Now a required stop for tourists. The tunnels are also intended to link today's city to the Jewish capital from the Old Testament. The Israeli government has handed control of the site and the excavations to a private organisation called Elad.
They cannot stop the Elad organization because Elad organization here as a state in state. They have their power, their money, their private gun guards, their private weapons, their private cars.
Elad and the Israeli Antiquities Authority did not respond to requests for interviews. We spoke to Emek Shaveh, an Israeli NGO specialising in archaeology. They see the cracks in the houses here, but aren't certain about the cause.
This is again the story of Silwan. You can see the excavation here and you can see the houses just next to it. If it's because of that or not, it's definitely an open issue, an open question, and the Israeli authorities, I think, not doing enough just to clarify this question, if it's true or not.
Silwan's Palestinian inhabitants are in no doubt. Ahmed, who was born here, takes us to one of his neighbours.
They are digging. When they reach to this house, you can see the cracks. And now another 2 or 3 months, you can see another two houses. So when they are digging, everything fell down.
Inside the houses and out, there are cracks everywhere. The historic city of David may see the light again, but the Palestinian city, which sat above it for centuries, is less stable day by day.
Turning our attention to Iraq and the upcoming parliamentary vote. This comes after a period of political stagnation for the Kurdish region following a referendum for independence, which some 92% opted for. The results, however, were rejected by the central government in Baghdad. If the Kurdish parties lose parliamentary seats this month, as anticipated, this would drastically reduce their community's political influence in Iraq.
It's the last few days on the campaign trail for the Kurdistan Democratic Party. In its stronghold in Erbil, posters colour the streets urging voters to turn out in force to defend the Kurdish referendum in the Iraqi parliament. An independence vote held last September, deemed illegal and therefore void by Baghdad. But Kurdish political leaders are hoping they can continue to carry influence in the country's parliament.
If the Kurdish political forces do not unite, we'll suffer as much as we did before. They should put their differences aside, just as the Shiites and Sunnis did in Iraq against the Kurdish issue.
In the semi-autonomous region in Iraq, the leader of the KDP, Masoud Barzani, who called for the referendum, is battling it out against rival party, the Patriotic Union of Kurdistan. The two sides are blaming each other for the post-referendum fallout, which saw the Kurds lose up to 40% of their territory to Baghdad, including oil-rich Kirkuk.
Kurdish politics is so divided. Leaders spend just as much time on their electoral programs as they do making fun of each other, instead of learning from the past and planning for the future.
Kurdish politics is indeed so divided that the number of candidates running in the upcoming elections has increased dramatically. Over 500 hopefuls are running on 77 candidate lists, competing for just 46 seats reserved in parliament for the Kurdish provinces. That's down from 62 in the last election, as a result of the recent lost territory. A choice between too many candidates may only work to the Kurds' disadvantage in the polls. Many are worried about losing seats in parliament, with analysts predicting losses could be heavy, something that would only serve to reduce Kurdish influence in Baghdad even more.
From Homs in Syria to Lille here in France, we finish this week's show with a success story about a Syrian refugee who's become a household name with fashionistas across the globe. After fleeing his motherland, Daniel Essa came to Paris to study fashion. Today, he's selling his luxury trainers online, as seen here, and various shops across the world. And he joins us here in the studio. Daniel, thank you so much for joining us here on
Thank you for having me here.
Now,
Thank you.
You're no stranger to all of this and to limelight. Before moving to France, you were very much a TV personality in your country.
Yeah, actually, I was TV presenter for 3 years in my hometown in Syria. I had 2 TV shows about the relooking, fashion, lifestyle, following the trends, and changing looks. And yes, it was quite interesting. So I was there for 3 years and that the 2 TV shows. And then I moved on to be a professor in the fashion university. And then I moved here to Europe.
And so here you are, and you certainly seem to have found your path here. But it can't have been really easy to leave behind your country, your people. Tell me about that transition.
Of course, it was very difficult because, you know, when you have been working in your country since 18, 19 after the university, and then you start your career and everything is going very well. And so it was so difficult to leave everything behind, and the country and the family also, and leave to Europe to start again from zero, you know. So it was difficult. But now everything is, the brand is doing very well and everything is going well.
And I want to talk about the brand. Tell me about what inspired you to create these incredible trainers.
Well, being in the fashion capital of the world, in Paris, in this luxurious city and this very rich history of the city, I was really inspired to start my own shoe brand. And I've been working for the last 2 years with fashion houses. Then I told myself, why not to start my own? And apparently I did the right decision by starting my own line.
Now, I want to talk about how a certain Hollywood actress, Whoopi Goldberg, came
Yes.
to wear these trainers.
Actually, it happened by a fashion director of Neiman Marcus. Of course, you know the fashion department store in the US. So he's a friend of mine, and he was a very good advisor to me while I was designing this collection. And then he insisted to have one of those samples, I remember, and it was just a sample, a prototype, you know. So, and he took these shoes with him to New York, and then he was in the fashion week, and Whoopi was right in front of him, and then she saw the sneakers, and she asked him, who designed those? I love them, I want them right now. And then he told her, like, this is a sample, and the brand doesn't exist yet, so they're still, you know, working on creating the brand. So then I received an email, and I sent them the lookbook, and she chose 3 three sneakers, and now we are doing the sneakers for her. So hopefully in a couple of weeks she will receive hers. Yes.
Daniel, I want to talk about the attention to detail. It's incredible. I noticed that you
Yes.
have these little messages inside your shoes. What was behind that decision, and what do they say?
You know, these small messages, it's because we live in a world of like, you know, everyone is busy right now. When you go into the metro, no one's looking at no one, everyone with the social media, internet. It's like, so I decided to have those small messages. So instead of sending your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your partner a message, so you can send him a kiss.
I would much rather get a pair of shoes than a message and a kiss.
So yeah, the blush pink sneakers they have, so when you turn the tongue in out and then you read what's written, it's bisous, which means kisses. So kiss. So it's
and this one that I have says toi et moi, you and I.
You and I, because it's a sneaker that I designed for couples, for a father maybe and his son, a mother and her daughter, for a boyfriend and girlfriend. You know, so instead of buying one for yourself, you buy also some another pair for your other half.
Daniel Essa, fabulous Syrian shoe designer. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me here. Thank you.
And that's it from us this week. Don't forget, if you have any suggestions, you can always reach out to us on both Facebook and Twitter. Stay tuned.